Guys, Kev here, and I am finally ready to do my full review on the Spyderco Bombshell here. This was a loaner I got in from my buddy Jake, Bearded Gear. Check out his channel. I talk about him all the time, so if you don't know who he is, just check him out. You'll enjoy his content if you're watching mine. He sent me this, I think it was a few weeks ago at this point. I really need to get this finished up so I can get this back to him. I believe I'm sending it over to Kyle, DTOM Knives and Gear first, so he can check this out, along with the Fox Knives Pelican here. I already did the full review on this guy. And then I'll also be sending a couple of bars of soap here. I did my kind of... I just did an overview on Dr. Squatch yesterday. I think the video came out today, depending on when this goes up. And I figured I'd send a couple bars so Kyle and Jake could try it out and see what they think. Got my LaCroix here. This is the key lime. Very good flavor. And I also wanted to bring out another knife. Here we go. The Birch Tree Secant here. This is the, this is the Secant, and it's designed by Michael Birch, who designed the Danger Pickle here, aka the Bombshell. So I might do a quick comparison during this review, just so I can kind of give an overview before I send this off. I do plan on getting one of these, so I could do the review or the comparison a little more in depth later, but I just wanted to show them together. But back to the Bombshell here. It's a very interesting design aesthetically. So when I first saw this knife, I was not very intrigued by it. I just thought it looked like a super thick, small, kind of goofy looking knife with G10. I'm not a fan of G10. It doesn't have a deep carry clip. Doesn't have a very, good point here. It's just a weird shape. I don't even know what you would call this blade shape. I guess it's maybe a drop point, modified drop point. Just an interesting design from Michael Birch. And just to back up a little bit, this is a flash batch knife from Spyderco. I believe they started that last year, 2020. And basically what they do is they do a small run of these, and then they literally just destroy the tooling, destroy anything that went into the machining of it, so that it can never be, it can never be produced again. And there's 1,250 that were made of these. I believe, let me see if I can get you the number on this one. I know they put it somewhere, and I'm just missing it right now. Come on. Shit. Oh, no. I don't know where they put it. Huh. I thought they numbered it fairly obviously. But I am an idiot, so it's possible. Let me just take my flashlight out. Sorry, guys. I just want to, if I can give you the number on here, I will. It's got to be on the inside of the scale then, right? Let's see. Come on, baby. Where are you? There we go. I see it. Sorry, it took me a second there. This is number 0046 of 1250. So I doubt you can see that, but if I'm getting the right angle and everything, you might be able to catch that. So Jake has number 46 of 1250. And so yeah, it's a flash batch. They only made 1250, so you will not be able to get this from Spyderco. There's not going to be another production run or anything. You have to get them on the secondary at this point. And kind of what happened was when these first launched in the summer, they weren't that popular. Like, you would see them around a little bit, and Knife Center got them. A bunch of distributors and dealers got them. And they were, they weren't really hard to get a hold of when they first came out. I think they were like $280, something like that. And then Jake got this one here, and he nicknamed it the Danger Pickle. So I think that started with the Spyderco Subvert. He had that in for review, and he nicknamed it the Danger Banana because it's like this big orange-handled Spyderco, and it kind of looks like a banana, I guess, so he called it the Danger Banana. And then when he got this, he nicknamed it the Danger Pickle, which this looks like a pickle. This orange, this green color, the shape of it, it kind of does have a pickle-shaped blade. Maybe that's what we'll call it, a modified pickle shape, pickle point. This has the classic Spyderco pickle point blade on here. But yeah, so he nicknamed it that, and this thing just took off. He basically put this knife on the map, and people just couldn't get enough of it, and they were bought up really fast, and the secondary pricing went through the roof. You were seeing these posted for like $400. It was kind of like a Sleesh Buoy situation, and it's settled down a little bit now, and I do see them occasionally for sale, and they're usually around like $350 or 300 to $350 depending on how lucky you get. There's a bunch on eBay right now for like $400, $420. I don't know if people are buying those. And I really want to get one of these, and I have a subscriber to the channel, and he has a few of them. Turns out he has like 3 of them. And 2 of them are like numbered back to back. It's like number 1 and number 2. It's not actually 1 and 2, but you get what I'm saying. And then he has another one that's higher numbered, and I think he might have used it a little bit or something. So I think he's going to send me that. He said he would send it my way, and then I'll send him back something. I got to come up with something good to send him back. Worst case, I'll just pay him for it. He didn't really seem to want anything, but I feel weird just taking something for free. So if he does send that to me, I'll figure something out. And if you're watching, I really appreciate that, man. That's just such a nice gesture. But I really do want to get one of these in hand or in the collection, so that would be awesome. Anyway, so that's kind of the background on how the Danger Pickle became the Danger Pickle. And then Michael Birch actually sent Jake like a bottle opener. I forget what he calls it. One of his like titanium bottle openers, and it had written on it the Danger Pickle Gang. So now everybody who has one is in the Danger Pickle Gang, and it's a whole thing, and it's a lot of fun. And I just think Spyderco nailed it with this first flash batch run. So everybody's excited to see what they do next year. But yeah, so that's the background on the Bombshell here. Again, looking at materials, we have a 20 CV blade here, which I think is bead blasted. And then you have the Birch Maker's Mark here, Birch Tree Blades, I think it's called. And then you have the Spyderco Tick over here. You have the steel marking up here, which I don't know if you're going to be able to see that. CPM 20 CV. Spyderco is written down in that corner there. And then on the back it says Taichung, Taiwan. Taichung, Taiwan. That is the factory this was made in, which they are known for very high quality out of their factory. So those are all good things. You have G10 handles, which are very smooth and well contoured. They did a great job with this G10. I normally hate G10. I avoid it pretty much at all costs if I can get a different scale material. But this is actually really good. G10. You also have the backspacer here in G10, and I assume these liners and everything are titanium, just based on the weight and the price of it. I would hope that they're titanium. So there should be a titanium liner lock, but it's possible this is some kind of steel, which has also been bead blasted. It all matches very well. And then you just have this kind of chrome silver hardware, which I think it would have been nice if the hardware had also been bead blasted, like the clip and the blade, and the liners and everything. But, you know, it's okay. So yeah, aesthetically, I actually think this is a really cool looking knife now. Like I said, initially I did not, but it grew on me. It kind of looks like a little bird to me. Looks like a, you know, like a toucan or something. It's got the beak right here and the eyes. Just an interesting design. In terms of action on this knife, it's pretty good. I can Spidey flick it. I got to give it a little gas to get that out. Thumb flick is very good, I'd say. The detent is a little bit light on this. I don't know if I can shake it out. Yeah, you see that? I can shake it out fairly easily. You know, it didn't just come right out. But I can fail this easily. If I get to the break point, you know, it shoots out if you want it to, right? I can get it to fail easily. But, you know, if you try it all, it's going to fly out, and it makes some amazing sounds. Listen to this thing lock up. Oh. You hear that? That was just because I was holding it to the camera, but listen. Oh, it just cracks open with authority. I love the sound of this thing. Yeah, it just sounds good. Next to, you know, the 80-20 and Chavez knives, this is one of the best sounding opening knives out there. It just sounds like a bruiser, you know, and I love that. But yeah, the action is pretty good. It's not, you know, perfection, but it's Spyderco. You know, I always say this with Spyderco, their detents they're just light. And I think that's just their way of doing it, because they have the hole for deployment. Just like with thumb studs, you need a bit of a lighter detent. So it just kind of lends itself to the design of it. But it's definitely very usable. You know, if you want to open this knife, you can open this knife easily. And you can slow roll it. That's another reason they do the lighter detent on Spydercos, for the people who like to slow roll. So, you know, you have multiple options. You have the slow roll, you have the thumb flick, and you have the Spidey flick, which is great. So action is definitely good. I wouldn't say it's fantastic, but it's good. Carry with this guy. So this guy is pretty small, right? So it's not a huge knife. I'll compare it to a bug out here for you. So here's the bug out and the bombshell. It's a little bit smaller lengthwise than a bug out, a little bit wider widthwise, and then thickness wise, it's a whole bit thicker. I mean, this thing might be this thing is like 2 bug outs stacked up, right? So, you know, it's a thick boy, 2 C's on that thick, you know? And then when it is open, it's still a bit smaller than the bug out, but not too much smaller. So there you go. So it's a decent size. It's not tiny, but it's definitely not big either. I'd say it's on the, I'd say it's a medium-sized knife, maybe on the low end, the shorter end of medium. Ergonomically, this knife is fantastic. This is the reason why I want one of these. It just fits like a glove into my hand. I have a large glove-sized hand, and just the way that Michael Birch designed these swells right here, my index finger fits perfectly, and then my ring finger kind of just fits right here after this little swoop. So this could be different depending on your hand size, but for me it fits perfectly. Then my ring finger, sorry, this is my middle finger here, ring finger here, and then my pinky goes onto this kind of bump back here, and it just feels so good. The ergos are fantastic. And then you have this flat, right? So instead of a choil, what he did was he did a flat here, and then there's no sharpening choil, which, you know, if I was more of an expert on edges and sharpening and stuff like that, I'd really like to speak to that, but I'm not, and I don't know. So I would be interested to hear from you guys in the comments. If anybody is an expert or, you know, has some knowledge on edges and sharpening choils and stuff, what kind of issues does this cause? Because it doesn't have a choil, right? It just has this flat that goes into the end of the edge here, and it's not even sharp. This last little bit right here is not sharp, and then the edge just starts. So there's no like edge termination, you know? It's very strange. It's basically like they just stopped sharpening at the end there. And I just wonder what kind of effect that has when you go to sharpen, or in terms of cutting. Does that cause any issues? So if anybody has some info on that, please let me know. But yeah, they have this choil here, or a flat, so you can choke up to here and move all your fingers up, and then you just have this unbelievable control right here with this knife. This knife would be good for outdoor work, I think. If you wanted a small knife for some outdoor work, it would work great because of the control you get, but you have this thick blade stock, right? Just very intriguing in terms of that. And cutting-wise, this thing cuts very well for such thick blade stock. I mean, look at that. But it comes down to a very thin edge. Again, I am very surprised by it. We do have a hollow grind here. At least I'm pretty sure this is a hollow grind, because you can kind of feel it swell in and then go down. And it gets fairly thin. So I don't know how well you can see it there. But really good cutter. That really surprised me and kind of blew me out of the water. Because just looking at this knife, you would think it would just be a big brick, you know. The point here, so the tip is not very pointy. It is thick. So you have a beast of a tip on there. This is probably a knife you could pry with and stuff. Not that you should, but you know, if you felt like it, go for it. But it does not have a very good tip. So for getting into packaging and stuff like that, I found it a little bit tough. I did try to use this a little bit opening packages, and getting that initial cut in was not very good with this. Even though there is a tip, it just didn't seem to work too well. So it's a good cutter, not the greatest tip there. Yeah, so we went over ergos, fantastic. We went over carry. Well, so I said it was a thick guy, right? And it has this clip, which is not deep carry or reversible. So for us lefties, you know, you just have to carry it as is. And I honestly don't have a problem with that. It doesn't bother me that much these days if a knife is set up right hand only, especially if it's a liner lock, which means I can, you know, manipulate it pretty much the same as a righty. And then the big key is this does not have a flipper tab. And it doesn't even have thumb studs. So going in and out of pocket and sitting in my pocket, this isn't going to just open up in my pocket. Nothing is going to put pressure on a flipper tab to pop it open, or grab onto a thumb stud to pop it open. So honestly, this carries very good for you know, what it is, how thick it is. I do wish it was a little bit more deep carry. A bit of it sticks out of your pocket. And for such a small knife, that's kind of a shame. If it's a bigger, longer knife with this much sticking out, it doesn't bother me that much. But when they do these, you know, they do these clips that aren't deep carry on a short knife, it's a little bit annoying, but it works and it carries well. It's very smooth. So, yeah, carry is decent. I would say it's decent. Value. So this is a tough one, because this is kind of a popular, limited kind of knife. Value is just a tough one. For $280, which is what this went for new, this is 100% worth it. I'd recommend it to anybody. Flat out, lefty, righty, whatever. This is a fantastic knife for $280. If you can get one for around $300 secondary, do it. Perfect. But once we're getting to like $350, $400, I hesitate. I just don't think I would spend that much on this, as cool as it is. Just, it's G10, 20 CV is great, but, it's on everything these days. It doesn't have the deep carry clip. It's a little bit chunky and heavy, and it's semi-gimmicky, right? So I wouldn't go to 350, 400. My cutoff would be $300 on this guy, and I think that's pretty fair, right? So yeah, that is value. I did want to do a quick comparison to the Secant. Let me just grab that. I dropped it earlier. Oh, there we go. Okay, so here's the Secant, right? And it has very similar cues. And I'm just... Sorry, I'm just dropping everything. It has very similar cues, right? In the sense that it's a, sort of small, medium knife. It has the flat right here instead of the choil. It has a sort of harpoon, like this one swoops down and then rounds up, where this one goes into the poon spoon, and then it has a very, typical harpoon look and then down. But that is similar. The ergonomics are similar on these, although I will say the Bombshell feels a little bit more comfortable than the Secant does. And I think that's just because there's a kind of point back here, and this is a more rounded design, contoured design, where this is a more square, rectangular design. So you're naturally just going to have better ergonomics on something rounded, right? Makes sense. What else? Size-wise, I mean, these are very, very similar. The Secant is a little bit longer, and they're both thick boys. I definitely think the Bombshell would be a little bit thicker, but honestly, not by that much, considering how thick this is. So this is a thicker one. Now, the action on this one's made by Riot instead of Spyderco. The closing action is just ridiculous. These thumb studs are amazing. It shoots out. This one also has very interesting sounds. Cracks open. And it kind of like screams shut in a way. Whistles shut. Hold on, let me see if you can hear it. I don't know if you can hear that, but the detemp ball sliding along the blade kind of makes this sound. And this is M390 and carbon fiber, and this went for $350 new. I got this for $300 on the secondary. Closing action on this guy is nowhere near the same. You kind of have to really shake it, even though it has such a thick blade. And this is on, I'm pretty sure it's on phosphor bronze washers, not on bearings. I could be wrong, but they look like phosphor bronze. And then this guy here is on bearings. Classic Riot setup. This is also a bolster lock, where this guy is a liner lock. So that's another difference there. Again, M390, 20 CV, bead blasted satin finish. The similarities kind of stop there. They kind of stop at the design, honestly. They just have the same cues that Michael Birch kind of has. They both have a very slight recurve. This one, a little bit more pronounced. This one definitely has somewhat of a recurve, it looks like, right in this area here. Very minimal, but it's there. It's just kind of a, you can kind of see his design language in these two knives. So that's kind of a quick comparison. And that's my full review on the Danger Pickle, guys. Thank you for listening to me rant and rave about it. I had a fantastic time with this knife, and it is time for me to give it back up. I'm going to get this out to Kyle as soon as I can. Give a shout out to Jake for me. Go over to his channel. Subscribe. He's a great dude. I appreciate you lending this to me, Jake. I hope you guys have a fantastic day. I will catch you later.